So this is where we left off in the previous video. We can collect stars and our score successfully updates. But it was all done through our main player. We need a game manager to manage all that. So let's go to hierarchy, right click, and let's create an empty game object. Let's call this one game manager. And let's reset the transform here. I want the score to be managed by this game manager. So let's create a script on this and let's call this one game manager. Alright, let's create an ad. Okay, so if we go to the assets folder now, we can see this game manager script with this cool icon. So let's drag and drop this into the scripts folder. Now let's go to the scripts folder and let's double click to open this up inside of Visual Studio. First we will go to the player script and move all this code to the game manager. So let's copy these two lines first, Ctrl X to cut them, and let's place them inside the game manager script. And once it's done, we will need to include the UI class here. So Unity engine.ui. Again, let's go back to the player script. Now let's cut these two lines from the start method and go to the game manager script and let's place them here. Okay, so let's go back there, and in here we will just take these two lines and leave the rest of it the same. And also up here we will make a reference to our game manager. So public game manager, and let's also call this one game manager with a small g. And let's go back to the game manager script, and here we will need a method that we will call from the player script. So public void, and let's call this one update score. And in here we will type in, we will just increment the score by 10. So score plus equals to 10. And also we need to update the score text here. So let's copy and paste this inside of the update score. And yeah, let's go back to our player script now, and we will just call this method here, game manager dot update score. Game manager dot update score. And yeah. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So let's go back and assign this score text to our game manager. Click on this and assign this text to our game manager here and hit play now. Okay, so something went wrong there. Let's see what the error is. Let's double click to see what actually went wrong. Okay, so I forgot to assign this game manager to our player script here. So let's drag and drop this game manager inside of this game manager slot and let's hit play. So now if we try and collect the star, the score actually updates. So yeah, everything seems to be working just fine. Okay, so what else do we need to do here? Let's just open up the list, and I will add another thing here, which is player death, because I want the player to be able to die, because that's the whole point of a game, right? Okay, so let's go back to Unity, and here I will create another 2D sprite, and it will be a triangle. So create, and let's find a 2D sprite triangle, and let's just drag and drop this triangle into our scene view. So let's place it right here. I have to focus on this, and the size actually looks just fine. So I'll change the color to, let's say, red, because it's dangerous. And also change this order in layer to -1 because I want this to be behind the ground. Let's rename this to spike. And yeah, let's add a polygon collider 2D to it. And now our spike is ready to do the damage. But before that we also need to add another tag here. And we will call this spike. So select the spike and make a copy of it, and I'll just place the spikes randomly into the scene. So, and yeah, I will also just put a couple more stars to our scene here. Here looks just fine. Let me just correct the position of our spikes. So let's also make another holder for the spikes. Call this one spikes and reset the transform here. Let's select all these spikes and place them inside this spike game object. Let's zoom out, and yeah, everything looks good. Now let's go to the player script and let's make a onCollision enter 2D method down here. So void onCollision enter 2D. Also we need to give a parameter here, collision 2D. Let's call this call. Open it up, and inside here we will check if the game object that we hit has a tag of, let's say, spike. So call.gameObject.tag is equal to spike, and if that's the case, so we want our player to die. So destroy, let's call it destroy method and give in our player, so game object. Okay, so let's try this out now. Let's go to Unity and hit play here. So let's try and hit these spikes, and if we do, nothing happens. Well, let's see what went wrong. So let's go back to our script here and let's see if we have put the correct tag here. So let's copy this, go to our spikes and check. Oh, we haven't actually set the tag here. So let's go to the tag and select all our spikes. Let's assign this spike tag to our spikes. Yeah, so let's hit play here, and if we go ahead and hit the spikes, our player actually dies, but there is another error here. So let's see what it is. So let's double click to open this up. Okay, so when our player dies, the reference to the camera also gets removed. So we will put a condition in here and see if the target is not set to null, meaning that our target is still active. Let's place this all code inside of this condition here. Let's go back to Unity and let's first clear this console here. And let's start the game now. So let's try and jump on the spikes. Okay, so our player can actually die and it just disappear and there are no errors. But we also need a game over panel or something to actually restart the game. Okay, so let's go to our canvas here, right click on it and go to UI and select the panel here. Let's just change the color to black. And let's select the canvas again. We also need to change this order and layer. I'll change it to something like 10, so it renders on top of everything. Now let's go to panel, right click, UI, and let's select text here. And we will change the anchor of our text to this. Also let's change the height to something like 300. And let's reset the anchor here. Okay, so let's change the text to, let's say, game over and enable this best fit. Also let's change the alignment to center and increase this max size. Okay, this looks good. Now let's change the color to white and let me make this bold. Okay, so this looks cool. Well, now we can just hit play here to see how it looks in the game. Okay, so it looks good. Let's actually go to our game manager script here. And inside here we will create a reference to this game over panel. So game object, and let's call this one geo panel. or short for game over panel. And inside the start method we will set the game object panel set to false because we don't want the game over panel to be active when the game starts. Go to the player script, and here where the player dies we will set this to true. Let's actually make a game over method inside of our game manager. So public void, let's call this one game over, and inside of this game over method we will set the game over panel to true. So game over panel dot set active and true. And now we can call this method in our player script here. So here we will just type in game manager dot game over. So let's go back into Unity and assign this game over panel to this slot. Okay, so let's test this out. Okay, so let's now try to hit these spikes. Cool, so if we die, the game over panel appears. Well, I decided to split this video into two parts so that it doesn't get too long. And in the next part we will continue from here and also make the restart button to actually restart our game. And yeah, then next part will be out soon. So that's it for this video. Until next time, see ya.